Lawyers, what's the dumbest way a client destroyed their own case? Story 1. Nothing makes you question your career choices faster than hearing a client say, "I don't really use Facebook," with full confidence. I was defending this workers' comp guy who claimed his injuries basically turned him into a human Jenga tower. Shoulder shot, knees destroyed, back wrecked, whole package. I'm prepping him for trial, giving the standard speech. Don't post online, don't talk about the case, don't do anything spectacularly stupid for like 5 minutes. He nods like a toddler pretending to understand taxes. Court day comes. My guy tells the judge he can't teach spin classes anymore because the injuries are too debilitating. I'm sitting there thinking, all right, decent testimony, maybe we survive this train wreck. Then opposing counsel smiles. Never a good sign. Dude pulls out surveillance footage, and there's my client teaching spin classes. Not casually either. This man is riding like rent's due tomorrow. Screaming motivation, standing on pedals, living his best Peloton warlord life. Turns out the insurance company found him because he posted his full teaching schedule on Facebook. At that exact moment, I spiritually left my body. I became a floating ghost in a cheap suit watching my law degree catch fire in real time. Story 2. You ever feel a case physically die beside you? Like actually leave its body? Because I have. Armed robbery trial, early 90s. Defendant pleads not guilty, standard stuff. We're hanging on to reasonable doubt with duct tape and prayer at this point, but technically, still alive. Barely. Then the witness takes the stand and identifies my guy. And my client, this absolute malfunctioning cartoon character, suddenly jumps to his feet and screams, "I should have blown your head off when I had the chance." Courtroom freezes. Jury looks horrified. Judge already reaching for nuclear launch codes. Then my client pauses, like you can literally see his brain trying to reverse the truck after driving it off the cliff, and he adds, "If I had been the one who robbed you..." Oh, okay, totally saved it. Incredible recovery. Give this man a legal scholarship immediately. I remember sitting there staring into space, thinking, wow. So this is what career-ending psychic damage feels like. Because there's no objection on earth fixing that sentence. The jury heard the first half, the second half, and the dumbass loading screen in between. Some defendants don't just sabotage their case, they turn it into performance art. Story 3. My client turned a winnable DUI case into a live-action demonstration of why the arrest probably happened. Honestly, we had a decent angle at first. DUI stop on the side of a packed interstate, cops making this guy give a urine sample, basically inches away from traffic. Jury probably could have sympathized a little. Humiliating situation, overkill vibes. There was room to work with. Then my client decided to personally bulldoze every ounce of goodwill into the ocean. Trial starts, prosecution plays the traffic stop video, and this absolute champion falls asleep in court. Not metaphorically, literally unconscious, head down, out cold while the jury watches footage of him allegedly too impaired to function responsibly. And why was he exhausted? Because this idiot stayed out partying all night before trial. I'm sitting there watching jurors slowly connect the world's easiest dots while internally screaming into the void. Found guilty, obviously. But wait, the chaos expansion pack wasn't over yet. Judge asks about potential drug testing. My client lies directly to the judge's face about what substances would show up in his system. Spoiler, the test immediately proved he was lying. Sentence doubled. At some point you stop feeling like defense counsel and start feeling like the world's least effective babysitter for grown adults with self-destructive superpowers. Story 4. Nothing says completely physically disabled quite like windmilling on cardboard to usher in front of a cheering crowd. I worked defense on a workers' comp case where this guy claimed basically every body part short of his eyelashes got obliterated at work. Neck, back, shoulders, knees, hips. Dude submitted a claim form that read like a medical scavenger hunt. And listen, sometimes injuries are legit, but this guy? Nah. Even his own story sounded like it was assembled 5 minutes before the meeting in a Walmart parking lot. We're heading into trial, everybody's stressed, drowning in paperwork, surviving purely on caffeine and mutual resentment. Day before court, one of us runs one last social media search, just in case. Boom. This absolute tactical genius had posted a video of himself winning a breakdance competition. Not casually dancing either. I'm talking full human Beyblade activity. Spinning on his back, launching into the air, Knees bending at angles medically unavailable to half the population. And the timestamp. Only a few months after the debilitating work injury. I have genuinely never seen a judge lose interest in a case so fast. Whole claim died instantly, flatlined, buried with honors. Social media really is just criminals and fraudsters volunteering for surveillance now. Story 5. You ever feel your soul leave your body in a courtroom, like fully clock out without notice? Because mine absolutely did. Early in my career, I'm defending this guy on a credit card fraud case. Not amazing facts, but manageable. We're still fighting, still pretending reasonable doubt exists somewhere in the universe. Then my client walks into court dressed like a mannequin from the exact store he allegedly defrauded. And I don't mean similar style. No. This man apparently treated the stolen credit card like a personal shopping spree and then wore the evidence to trial like it was Fashion Week, felony edition. Halfway through testimony, a clerk from the store points directly at him and goes, "Those are the clothes!" Right there, in front of the jury. I remember physically staring at the ceiling for a second because my brain refused to process that level of self-sabotage naturally occurring in the wild. And the jury? Oh, they loved that. You could literally see people trying not to smirk. Meanwhile, I'm sitting beside my client feeling exactly like those old commercials where somebody asks, "Want to be somewhere else?" Yes, deeply. Preferably another profession, maybe underwater, somewhere without human speech. Story 6. You know a case is beyond saving when your client turns the courtroom into Craigslist for narcotics. Colleague told me this story years ago, and I still think about it whenever somebody says money can buy the best defense. Wealthy family. Connected family. Their son gets busted dealing drugs at a local music festival. Classic rich kid disaster package. Dad immediately goes into damage control mode, posts bail, hires this giant, expensive law firm, probably burning that through billable hours like jet fuel, trying to keep Junior from detonating his future. And honestly, they still had a fighting chance. Then court day arrives. This kid walks in absolutely annihilated. Eyes barely functional, moving like his skeleton had recently been unplugged. Entire courtroom can practically smell bad decisions radiating off him. And before proceedings even really start, this genius loudly tries to buy drugs from the bailiff. The bailiff, like sir, that is quite literally the least entrepreneurial audience available in the building. My colleague said the whole defense team just went emotionally blank. No panic, no scrambling. Just that 1,000-yard stare people get when they realize reality has exceeded satire. Because at some point, the legal strategy stops mattering. You can't outlawyer a client actively auditioning for additional charges in real time. Story 7. My client said something so confidently stupid that even the arresting officer had to pause and reboot internally. Domestic violence case. Messy scene, neighbors watching, cops already done with everybody's nonsense before they even got there. I'm talking full white trash symphony orchestra at 2 a.m. Somebody crying, somebody shirtless, one random dude holding a Mountain Dew like court-appointed emotional support. Officers trying to arrest my client while this man is out here arguing constitutional law he apparently learned from gas station conversations. And with max confidence, like this dude thought he just discovered a loophole hidden by the government, he yells, "It's not domestic violence, I'm on public property." Dead serious too, face lit up like he'd cornered the cop in some brilliant legal chess move. Meanwhile, I'm in the background mentally drafting my resignation letter in crayon, because that's not how any of this works at all. The charge doesn't magically vanish because you crossed the sidewalk like a vampire avoiding holy water. Cop just stared at him for a second. You could literally see the officer debating whether explaining the law was worth the calories. Spoiler, it wasn't. Story 8. Nothing vaporizes a sympathy payout faster than grieving your dead wife in the VIP section of a nightclub wearing an "I love MILFs" shirt. My wife's lawyer has a universal rule now. The second he takes your case, you get banned from social media like it's court-ordered rehab for stupidity. And apparently one client is the reason. Wrongful death lawsuit. Man's wife gets killed. Horrific situation. Massive pain and suffering case. Other side was supposedly close to settling too. Everybody thinking this thing's heading toward easy money. Then defense attorneys checked Facebook. Big mistake. Catastrophic mistake. End of career level mistake. Because there are photos of this dude at a nightclub 1 week after his wife died. Not quietly hanging out either. Oh no. This man is living like he just got drafted into the NBA bottle service. Huge grin. Getting a lap dance while wearing a shirt that literally says, "I love MILFs." And listen, grief looks different for everybody, sure. People cope weirdly, but there is no universe where that photo ends up helping your emotionally devastated widower narrative. Lawyer said settlement talks basically died on impact. That's the terrifying thing about social media. One drunk photo can transform you from heartbroken husband into guy who speed ran morning and hit the club before the funeral flowers wilted. Story 9. My client took a guaranteed payday and personally drove it into a wood chipper because apparently warning labels are just decorative to some people. This workplace injury case was basically gift wrapped. Equipment malfunctioned, guy got hurt, evidence lined up beautifully. Everybody thought the company was cooked. Easy settlement territory. Then they put my client on the stand. And listen, there's always that terrifying moment during testimony where a client starts adding extra details nobody asked for. You can literally feel danger approaching, like thunder in the distance. At first, he's doing okay, explaining the day, explaining the injury, all normal. Then he casually mentions that when he walked up to the machine, there was a note on it saying out of order. I swear my stomach immediately dropped into another dimension. Defense attorney perks up instantly like a shark smelling blood in the water. And before anyone can stop him, my client proudly explains that he removed the sign and turned the machine on anyway because the job needed to get done. Silence. Absolute courtroom silence. That winning case died so fast, it should have had a funeral. Because congratulations, sir. You just testified under oath that safety warnings are apparently optional side quests to you. The company didn't even need a defense anymore. My client became their defense. Some people don't lose cases. They confess themselves out of them like it's a competitive sport. Story 10. There's nothing more dangerous than a client who says, I did my own research. Right before digitally setting his legal defense on fire, I was handling a trademark infringement case for this company owner who genuinely believed he was the smartest man alive because he'd skimmed 3 blog posts and owned a polo shirt with his logo on it. And the insane part? We were close to settling. Like genuinely close. Opposing side was reasonable. I was literally 1 email away from locking in a deal where my client could keep using the trademark with a few restrictions and a tiny licensing fee. Smooth landing, minimal damage, adult solution. Then Captain Ego logs onto his company website and decides to defend himself. By defend, I mean publicly admitting what he did while ranting that trademark law was fake. The trademark owner was a woke baby, and she should get back in the kitchen and make her husband a sandwich. I remember reading the post in complete spiritual paralysis, like my brain just blue-screened. Because congratulations, sir, you didn't just confess. You added misogyny DLC to an already manageable lawsuit. Naturally, the trademark owner saw it, immediately killed settlement talks, and dragged the whole thing into court with the fury of 1,000 suns. And we lost. Badly. Thousands and thousands of dollars gone because one grown man physically could not stop himself from posting cringe, misogynistic rage bait online for 24 consecutive hours. The internet has done irreversible damage to people's ability to shut the hell up. Story 11. You know a hearing's going badly when the judge starts delivering one-liners like he's the final boss in a legal drama. I was sitting in court watching this guy deal with some release condition violation situation. Apparently one of the big rules was he absolutely could not contact certain family members. Crystal clear, repeated multiple times, legal equivalent of do not push the red button. So naturally, this man decides Mother's Day is the perfect time to call his mom. And honestly, you almost wanna respect the commitment to terrible timing. Judge is already irritated before the hearing even starts. Defense attorney rolls in looking spiritually exhausted, wearing sweats like this case had personally defeated him at a molecular level. Then the violation gets brought up. Judge pauses, stares at the guy, and says, your mother seems to care about your freedom as little as you do. Put the cuffs on him. Bam. Immediate remand. Court deputy moves in while the defendant just stands there looking shocked, like consequences were some shocking new software update nobody warned him about. And the lawyer, clearly running entirely on caffeine and despair by this point, just sighs and goes, oh, judge, I told him, I told her. Can't fix stupid. Honestly, the wildest part of court isn't even the crime sometimes. It's watching grown adults destroy their own lives over one phone call they absolutely knew they weren't supposed to make. Story 12. Nothing spikes your blood pressure faster than hearing your client freestyle the one sentence you specifically begged him not to say. I'm a criminal defense lawyer, and this DUI case still haunts me because we actually had a fighting chance. Small town situation. My client and his wife had a routine: walk to the local bar, get drunk responsibly, walk back to their houseboat afterward. Weirdly wholesome, honestly. That night, they're helping another drunk patron sleep it off in her SUV until a ride comes. Client drops the keys while getting her settled, unlocks the front door, turns on the car lights to look for them. Cop watching the bar sees headlights and instantly decides he witnessed drunk driving. Boom. Arrest. Problem was, my client had an old DUI from like 12 years earlier. Judge agreed the jury would never hear about it unless my client opened the door, so I prep him relentlessly. Do not mention your past. Do not say you'd never drink and drive. Do not make broad moral statements. Trial goes shockingly well. I'm practically seeing hope for the first time in my career. Then I hand him one final softball question, and this man proudly says, "I would never do something like that." I felt my soul physically exit through my ears. Door opened. Old DUI comes in. Jury convicts in 25 minutes. Criminal defense is honestly just professional hostage negotiation with people who keep pressing the self-destruct button mid-conversation. That's all for today. Drop your favorite disaster in the comments, and don't forget, your lawyer can't save you from your own mouth.